Hi Scott, how you doing?
Hey man, how are you?
Yeah, really good, thanks. Really good to speak to you today. Um, I'm going to begin by asking about the kind of challenges as a director coming into an established franchise and that kind of balance in maintaining the kind of essence of what came before, but at the same time, bringing some of yourself and your kind of new ideas into proceedings.
Look, I think anytime you jump into any kind of franchise, you want to be authentic to the brand, right? And you don't want to deviate at all because the audience has their expectations of what they came to see. So I think for me, it was like really focusing on getting back to the original Expendables 1, which I think tonally really nails, why that movie was so successful and the tongue-in-cheek fun of it, but also the edginess of the rated R aspect of it, and then kind of elevating it to hopefully something even more special with the fights and the stuff. And that's why I brought in the Jackie Chan Hong Kong fight team to try to create something special within the fight world, because obviously Expendables, we blow up a lot of shit and we kick ass, but if we could do it in a maybe even more stylized way, it was what I was trying to accomplish.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the tone. I mean, I always think the balance of these is so tricky because you've got to craft a film that is both serious and silly. And I mean silly as a compliment, by the way. It's something
Yeah,
that I just wondered if that comes through in the shoot, the script, or the editing process to ensure that that tonality is achieved, whereby the film can be irreverent, it can be absurd at times, but has a compelling narrative for audiences to kind of invest in.
Yeah, I think, look, it's the brand is tongue in cheek, whether you like it or not. It's an escapism type of movie where, we like to leave our dire world that we live in and go have some fun for a little while, right? For 2 hours. And, with that balance of these are guys you relate to, you want to be sincere with who they are as the characters, but also, we kind of poke fun at ourselves within the brand. And I think that's what makes it kind of special is you have these huger, larger than life egos and personalities, and they're not afraid to, kind of look at themselves retrospectively.
You mentioned the bringing in the Jackie Chan team, but I wanted to know as well because obviously the villain in here is Iko Uwais, who of course known to audiences for his incredible work in The Raid, amongst other things. I know he's more than just an actor because he's a choreographer as well. Did you lean on him at all as well in those fight sequences? Did he have any license to help design those moments as well?
Look, I think the beautiful thing of Expendables actors are they're all action heroes in their own right. So what we always did on this particular movie was we would design the fights and choreography, but then we would show that choreography to like Iko or Tony, right, or Jason, and we would cater them to their particular style and traits, but we would also ask for their input. So it was fun because I mean each of them are so tremendous in what they can do fight wise. So when I casted Iko, I was super excited more so for the big finale fight between Jason and him. So we really leaned on both of them on what we call the special sauce in each fight.
And when it comes to leaning on actors, I mean, when you direct someone like Sylvester Stallone in a movie like The Expendables, is there sometimes a case of just thinking, do you know what? You know what you're doing. I mean, obviously, you've got to be the director. You've got to help guide him through a scene as you would of any actor. But when it comes to legends like that, who are the face in some ways of kind of action movies, are there some moments you just go, yeah, you take it away from here, Sly?
Well, I mean, look, it's a good point. You got a guy that truly is the quintessential action hero that really started the brand, started that whole movement between Arnold and himself, right? So you have to you have to check your ego at the door when you're going to try to one up somebody that created it. So I think with myself with Sly, hey man, I wanted to check that box to work with somebody like him. I had a wonderful time working with him, and it was really fun to collaborate with somebody like him, and at times check myself and say, hey Sly, do you like this? Is this what we should be doing? And it was great to have him as a sounding board to make sure we stay on brand and also lean into what he's so great at.
Do you ever get maybe starstruck's not the right word, but just do you allow yourself to remember your own personal relationships with these kind of movie stars, and even just from your childhood? I mean, these faces, they illustrate so much of our collective kind of childhoods, and in many ways they represent for so many fans around the world kind of what cinema means to us, because they came at such formative kind of years of our life. Does that ever creep in, or is that something you just have to leave at the door when you take on a project like this?
Look, I mean, I have to say, look, I think you're still a human, right? At least I still try to portray myself as a man that's, born on this planet, that's got humility, and also that gets excited as a kid. And of course, when I watch Sly, who for me in the 70s was super informative with Rocky as a kid, that was really like, man, I wanted to go out and fight the world after I saw that movie. When I watch Sly on this movie get involved to start to choreograph one of the fights from his perspective, the entire crew, and including myself, sat back and it was like we were all watching Rocky just get in there and show us how to fight. It was awesome, man.
It feels like in the film there's a slight element of the mantle being passed over from Barney over to Christmas in the terms of characters, but in many ways I think that it feels a bit like, with Stallone kind of, he's been doing this a long time. It does feel a bit like he's kind of passing on that kind of the true action hero role over to Jason Statham. I know he's been a huge admirer of over the years. Would you say it feels a bit like Statham is really taking on that kind of responsibility of being one of the world's kind of leading action heroes at the moment?
But I think there definitely is a natural passing of the torch to Jason from Sly. Jason has that kind of that Charles Bronson personality trait that really is, as we say, he's a man's man and he's a woman's man, right? So he's kind of guy you want to go have a beer with and girls want to sleep with. So I think he's the quintessential action hero, and he's also extremely physically talented. So he's just that natural person to pass off to, and still has a lot of longevity left in his career.
And an Olympic diver as well, Jason Statham.
Yeah.
But I just wondered about the challenges that come with directing an ensemble like this, because you've got a lot. I mean, obviously as a director, your job is to always get the best out of the scene, but I've been on sets before, and the director often dictates the kind of tempo, and it's very much like their set. There's a lot of different personalities to work with here. How do you kind of navigate your way around having so many big stars in their own right all on set on any one day?
Well, I think all the stars on this movie, they all have their moment, right? That the audience is waiting for. They do their kind of character piece. And I think, overall, we're there to serve the story. And my job always is to be the pilot at the helm, guiding us all together collectively on the same journey and not deviate off of the actual story. And I think, with actors that, trust you on where we're taking it. And obviously with my stunt background and having that kind of pioneer world of how to shoot action, I think let them trust me possibly a little bit more. And I felt like it was much more of a collaborative experience on the set that maybe doesn't happen on some of these movies.
You're not the only kind of sort of director who obviously came from a kind of stunt background, David Leitch as well, of course. Do you think there's something about the artistry involved in stunt work that lends itself quite well to directing?
Look, I think there's I was blessed to be around a guy named Hal Needham, who really is the quintessential stuntman that started in directing, which was how, Smokey and the Bandit, right? So I think there's a few of us that have been lucky enough to transcend from the stunt world into first unit storytelling. But yeah, especially obviously we all go to the action films. We're not going into drama. That would be a kind of a mistake of our own identity. So I feel like, there is a natural progression, but it's not normal. We come from action only world. We don't really deal too much with story on second unit. So myself came from theater, so it was a natural progression for me.
In terms of like progressing even beyond Expendables, you mentioned about working with Sylvester Stallone. Are you working with Arnie next in Breakout? Is that right? I mean, that must be quite an exciting. You said about ticking Sylvester Stallone off the list. I mean, just having the opportunity to work with Arnie as well must be an exciting prospect.
Absolutely. You know, that was like, I like to check my boxes at the end of my lifetime. You'll say, hey, I got to work with the greatest action heroes of all time. And I got Jackie Chan, Sly, and now wanted to check the last one, which is Arnie. And yes, I'm on a movie with him, but of course we're in hiatus with the strike going on. So when the strike resumes or finishes, I should say, hopefully we get back to, I get to finally check that final box.
Yeah, they're not bad boxes to check. So my final question, and I mean, obviously, with Expendables is a franchise. It's been long lasting now. So 4 films in. I mean, it's always got this scope and ability to keep going because the whole point to it is that it's kind of always reinvigorating itself. That lineup of kind of action heroes is constantly able to be changed and adapted to kind of whoever's big at any kind of given moment. So do you think there could be more Expendables down the line, and is it something you could be interested in?
Look, I feel lucky to be a part of the brand. So if the audience wants it, right, I think the producers in the studio is absolutely game to make another one. I know Jason and Sly are excited to be a part of it. And if they ask me to be a part of it, 100%, it's a lot of fun to be around actors that are super physically talented and kind of lends into my storytelling style.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Scott. And best of luck with the release of the movie.
Hey, man. Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye-bye. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!